Hello, Facebook. And let's get our Instagram friends on. And then we're ready to rock and roll. Hey, Instagram, how are you doing? I have Facebook and I have YouTube. I'm so happy to have all of you here. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh my God, it is a glorious, glorious day. The sun is shining. There's a very light breeze, and it's just so beautiful. We are getting closer to summer. My name is Corinne Clapham. For those of you who haven't yet met me, I am an intuitive wellness coach. Within that, I do a lot of different natural modalities, which is healing on a energetic and cellular and soul level. So really getting to the core of what's been causing unhealthy patterns and physical and emotional discomfort and releasing it from there, and then reinstalling new paradigms and belief systems that will best support you on the transformation and living the life that you desire. So thank you for joining me today. And I didn't really have a specific thing that I wanted to connect about. I just wanted to connect because it's been what feels like a long time. And I wanted to share this beautiful sunshine with you as well. And I've been feeling like since we've come out of the full moon, the last full moon was in Scorpio, and gosh, it was a really heavy one. It was heavy for you. Definitely put the comments below if you felt like there was a lot of belief systems, a lot of insecurities, a lot of different emotions that came up. Put it in the comment below, put an emoji down there. And, often when these things come up, it's stuff that we've had buried deep down for a really long time. And so when we start to have it to shift and ready to be healed, it comes up to the surface so we can have the awareness who is there and then make the conscious choice. Do we want to continue to carry that or do we want to release it? Now, I want to say my intuitive senses tell me that that was probably the strongest and hardest full moon we're going to have of this year of 2020. Of course, it varies a little bit from person to person, and also depending where you are astrologically with your chart. But I would say as a collective, that was probably the hardest one. So you made it through. That's a good sign. And I can already feel that the energies have lightened up over the days. And it's definitely like a big weight has come off. And it's really exciting because we are stepping into the new moon, which is this Friday, May 22nd, 2020. And this is a really special one because it's in the sign of Gemini, which is my zodiac sign. So if you are also a fellow Gem, put it in the comments below. And if you are another sign, go ahead and put that in the comments below. And you can even share what your what your sun sign is if you happen to know it. If not, no worries. Don't worry about that. But I really love astrology because we get to know the main characteristics of certain signs, and it can really help us to understand ourselves and other people a little bit more and how we integrate and communicate with one another. And so with this new moon, I feel like it's going to be very powerful in a sense of very magical. And what I mean when I use the word magical is like anything can happen. We can really bring into our reality what we desire. And I feel like that's also why the last full moon was so heavy. It was really preparing us to shift out all the stuff within us that might have or would have blocked you from moving forward into the vibration, the energy, the reality that you want to live. Because the thing is, if we want to live a certain frequency or live a certain kind of lifestyle, there's going to be things we're going to have to let go of. There's going to be things we're going to have to heal. There's going to have to be belief systems and paradigms that we are going to have to clear and release because there's only a certain way we can live with certain conditioning and belief systems. And so if you want to move to a different level, you're going to have to release and clear things. It's just the way it is. And so take it as a good thing if you were really going through a lot in the full moon and hopefully you took that time to bring awareness of what was coming up and really looking at it more of an opportunity to see what was there and to release it because the ego, it's very easy for the ego and the mind to want to go into victimhood and to go down the rabbit hole. But if we can actually take a step back and look at it as more as an observer without getting our emotions so attached. And I don't mean don't feel the emotions that are coming on. That's not what I'm saying. It's just that sometimes when we get too looped in with the ego and take things too personal, we wrap into a different kind of energy. Kind of sit back and this happened, and then this emotion of sadness or anger came up. Like there's a difference between those two energies, and when we can sit back and look at it as an observer, like really like huge shifts can happen because that's when we're able to have a more calmer and clearer perspective on things and to be able to move through it instead of hanging on to it and holding in it. So we're able to move through it and then release what's there and then implement something new from a new perspective. So this new moon in Gemini, Geminis is the symbol of twins. So if you think about twins, you have two. It's really interesting when we have that because there can be duality, but not only that, there's actually more. It gives us an opportunity to have more like different perspectives on one thing. And when we're able to look at things that way, we can really start to play around and explore different ways that we can look at a situation or a person or a thing rather than being very narrow minded and just having a thought or a judgment. So, really being able to be a lot more expansive. Geminis also tend to be very curious. So that's why they can be known for maybe always doing a lot of things all the time. And it's because we are very curious and we get so fascinated and we want to learn more about all these different things. And so really taking this time to have more of a childlike um, innocence and playfulness coming and really try to surrender and bring it back to the present moment because it's really when we start to think about a lot of the past or we fear about the future. A, not only does it take us out of the present moment, but B, that's where we can start to bring up a lot of anxieties. And it's interesting if you start to bring awareness to your thoughts and you start to catch yourself when you start thinking about things that didn't even happen. Like you start to ruminate and think about things in your head and you start getting worked up with the emotions that you would have felt if it was really happening. Try to see if you can catch yourself when you do that and be like, you know what, that didn't even happen. And why am I thinking that? And why am I getting myself so worked up? And it's almost like a fear of that happening. And we want to think about it so we can feel like we're prepared if it does happen. But when you catch yourself doing that, just take a moment back and kind of question yourself, like, why did I even think that? Like, what was the fear? What was driving that? And then knowing that you can cancel any thoughts or any thoughts that you have that you don't like, just hit cancel, like, or delete. You can imagine a delete button, like pretend you're writing a story on your Word document on your computer and you're writing a story and then you're like, no, I actually don't like that scene, or I don't like how that played out, or I don't like how that makes me feel. You just hit the delete button, it's gone. And then you rewrite what you really do want. And that's essentially what we're doing with our brains and our programming and what we send out. I just want to read a comment that I see here. Hey, Hannah, how's it going? Thank you for this, Corinne. I have a question. Okay, her past abuser was a Gemini, which has made her develop negative feelings when she hears about the zodiac sign. Could you highlight some positive aspect and ways she could possibly break this attachment? And she said, you're answering my question right now. Okay, awesome. First off, I just want to say thank you for sharing. And secondly, I think that's really awesome that you had, again, I'm going to use this word a lot, awareness, because if you don't have awareness, there's no progression with it, right? Like the first step is always awareness. Then you can decide what you want to do with it. So that is amazing that you even were able to formulate that and have clarity that that's what it was. So it was almost like a trigger for her. If we use that as an example, like she had an association, right? So she had a negative experience with something or someone, and then there was an association. In this case, it happened to be the zodiac sign. So my suggestion is first forgive yourself for having that thought. And I know some people are gonna be like, whoa, hold on, why do I have to figure myself like when that person was an abuser or this and that? Just hold on here. Listen to me. So first, when we start to have certain thoughts that we don't like, And this is actually a teaching from one of my teachers, one of my fabulous teachers, Gabby Bernstein. And it was something like when we notice we have a thought of judgment, um, the first thing is we forgive the thought. Because when we forgive the thought, then that thought actually does not have any more power over us. Because how do I explain that? Does that make sense to all of you? It's like when we're able to step into a vibration or a place where we're able to forgive, we're ready. And what that, let me actually explain what that word can mean too, because I know that can be perceived a different meaning. Forgiveness is essentially when we're like, okay, I'm ready to like cut the cord on whatever this is and move forward. I'm ready to just like release that, clear that, and no longer carry that weight around with me. And so when we do that forgiveness, it's like, okay, I genuinely forgive it. And now I move forward. Whereas someone who holds on to resentment is still circulating in their minds, it's still circulating energetically within them, it's still circulating in them in their cellular memories. And so, or on a cellular level as well, and energetically. So it's still being carried with them with all these emotions rather than getting released. So if we can forgive the thought, then you'll notice you feel a softness in your body, you can let go. So that would be the first thing, because you take care of your side of the street first. You're taking care of your lane, right? Because some people might be like, well, what about this person who is the abuser? So we take care of our own lane. That's what we do. We take care of our own lane. We learn maybe for someone who went in that situation, they start to learn what the signs are of someone doing that. So in the future, when they meet another person, if they start to see certain similarities, they already have that past experience. And there's a difference between, okay, you know what, I see this and I have seen this characteristic before and it wasn't a healthy one. And then you make a conscious choice. There's a difference between that. And then there's a difference between like someone making all these associations and almost going into fear over it. Like there can be a learning way and there can be a way where how are we saying? We're dragging a past into a present where the person you're with in the present necessarily may not have any of that, but it's like we haven't done the healing yet. So our fears are still very there that we almost bring it into a situation where it wouldn't have been there. Do you see the difference between the two? So really is doing the healing and the forgiveness around those two things and around that person, taking your lessons, extracting it from that, and doing the forgiveness practice. If you look on my, I don't know if it's on my YouTube, but on my Facebook, one of the meditations that's on there, I'm trying to remember what the headline is for a meditation. Anyways, there's a meditation that I did on there. I'll actually, I'll put your name in there, Hannah, so you can find it. But it's a forgiveness practice. So when we do that, we also clear up the karma between us and that person. You don't need to talk or call the person to do this, by the way. This is all energetically done. You clean it up, you clear it there, and you also clear up any future karma, because sometimes we have people from a past lifetime that comes in. Like there's a lot of different layers that we can have. So when we do that, she says, I love that. Awesome. Forgiveness practice is so important. I cannot express to you how powerful that is. And again, it's not saying what the other person did is okay and that they can do it again. It's just clearing the energetic ties and cleaning your energy and your karmic energy and in the Akashic records and moving forward on a more pure path. So how are we doing for time here? Okay, I do have to hop on a Zoom call at 10, so just to make sure I don't ramble on too long. Does anybody have any questions before I head off? And she says, I would love that. Awesome. I'm glad that answered some of your questions. And also Reiki, because she's one of my Reiki students, so I know. Actually, she's completing her Reiki master, so congratulations. But what I want to say about that too, like bring in the tools that you have, right? So in Reiki, especially level 2, you learned a lot of different ways that you could implement Reiki healing. So even doing, since okay, it said low battery. Hopefully we're still on. So for those of you who've taken level 2, and also Hannah, if you remember, there was an exercise that we did where you can actually send Reiki to the younger you, the younger child, but know that you can do that to whatever age. So that difficult time or any challenging time you guys are having, knowing know that you can send healing to that younger you that was going through that. There's also another way you can. Thank you for this beautiful. You really helped and set my intentions for today. Awesome. Cool. Well, I am going to sign off. And before I do that, I do want to let you know tomorrow is the new moon in Gemini. I do have a new moon awakening virtual event. So no matter where you are globally, you can attend. It'll be 7 p.m. Eastern. And if you can't make it live, there will also be a replay sent out to all those who are registered. And what we'll be doing in there, we always do guided meditation, always. The last full moon ceremony that we did a lot of clearing and a lot of releasing. And now this one is going to be a lot more. And I did that specifically because we clear all this. And then for the new moon, we're going to be in a more cleaner vibration, and we're going to be able to be more focused on what we really desire. And when we're in a cleaner energy, our desires are actually going to be a lot different than when we're in a place of we're like, there's still a lot of stuff within us, or we're in a place of fear. It's going to be very different desires. So I'm very conscious of always making sure we're coming from a clean energy, and you're working and connecting with your higher self, your divine self, which everybody has, by the way. So if you haven't tapped into that yet, it's there. Don't worry, you'll get there. But we tap into that. So we're really bringing in the manifestations we want to bring into our reality, coming from our highest self that will support us on the highest path. So we'll be doing that. There's a lot of fun little different things I'm going to include that's a bit different from my past ones. I always try to have something that's always a little bit different themes, and it's always different because it's depending on the energies that show up. I always intuitively have something that's specific for the people that are showing up. And I'm not going to say all the little goodies I'm going to get in yet because there's still like a list that I have, and I'm going to fine tune which ones I want to put in. But it's definitely going to be a good time. We're going to be focusing on bringing our dreams into our reality, and know that you can do this anytime. And when we do with the new moon, we really have the energies a lot more potent, and we are working with the moon energies to support us through it. And when we learn more about the sign that the moon is in, it doesn't matter what zodiac sign you're in, you're still going to be feeling a lot of different stuff shifting and moving accordingly. So when we know the different themes about it, we can actually use it for greater good and to better support ourselves as well. There's a lot going on astrologically. I think we have actually 3 planets in retrograde right now. Mercury is not one of them, so don't worry, don't freak out. Not that there's anything to freak out about that, but we'll talk more about that tomorrow. And if you're interested for more details, just let me know, send me a message, and I will send it over. I hope you guys all have an amazing day, and I hope you all get to appreciate this beautiful weather. I'm absolutely loving it. All right, cheers. Take care, Instagram. And what do we have here? Cheers, YouTube. And cheers to Facebook. Oh, cool. Sure, IGTV. Look at that. So cool this works. Wow, never done a IGTV before. Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you, love?